Good morning, everyone. My name is John Dale, and this is Spearfish City Limits, broadcasting from the corner of Canyon and Jackson in Spearfish, South Dakota. Sunny Spearfish, South Dakota. Sunny today, anyway. I wanted to just address a few items for you in video so you can see that I'm a real person. A lot of people who have tuned into the show over the years have done it on just an audio basis. But rest assured, there's an actual person, moi, behind all of this. Spearfish City Limits was founded around 2014 as a conservative, patriotic, America First cultural and arts movement in Spearfish, South Dakota. And since that time, it has been like a lightning rod for fascists in the area to come out of the woodwork and crush our projects because I don't go through appropriate channels in order to build the things that I want to build. And I'm still looking for a free market. I came back to South Dakota about 11 years ago looking for the freedom and liberty that is advertised before it was advertised by the current governor or anyone else in South Dakota. And what I found was entrenched fascistic interests who crush new businesses, who destroy free markets, and don't even realize they're doing that. And so when I encountered that, I got really excited because I like to work on difficult problems, and this is a very difficult problem. We're still here. We're still broadcasting. We're still thinking through the things that we broadcast as diligently as we can with the resources that we have. Again, Spearfish City Limits was founded around 2014, so I've got notes and video and audio and emails dating all the way back then that chronicles the great work that we've been doing here in the fascistic Western South Dakota. We just want free markets, we want liberty, we want America First, and we want patriotism, and we want atomic families and homeschool, and basically we want freedom. In those years, we've had hundreds of thousands of listeners tuning in to our programming from across the globe. Right now, Spearfish City Limits is South Dakota's hottest alternative media, and we probably have the lowest budget as well, and boy, could we use a little bit of gas in the tank. You can find a tip jar at PlainsTribune.com. PlainsTribune.com is the vehicle or the publisher for Spearfish City Limits, and that's why you see that URL around a lot. But Spearfish City Limits is the OG, it's the original. We've printed lots of shirts and done lots of different marketing strategies around Spearfish City Limits, knowing that all of the fiat money was with the people and the fascists who were opposing what we're doing. Recently, I did my most important interview ever. We've had the opportunity to roll the ball up the hill slowly but surely, and we're right at the crest of that hill with the other side. So there's patriotic America First, freedom, free market people rolling that ball up the hill. We're cresting the hill. And on the other side, the counter, I guess, insurgency to American freedom is pushing back and trying to roll that ball back down the hill. And the interview that we did most recently with Jessica Palama is the most important interview we've done because it contains a strategy that we can use to restore freedom here in South Dakota. Because I came from Arizona. I went to 9 different elementary schools growing up in Washington, California, South Dakota, right here in Belle Fourche, in Spearfish. I attended 2 different elementary schools when I was in first and second grade. Went to kindergarten right across the street from where we broadcast. And I've seen a lot of the world. I was born in North Carolina. I've been to Texas, lived in Texas for a little while. I've got family there still. And I know people all over the country. And everywhere you go, people complain about the corruption. And they wonder what causes it and what they can do. From what I've seen, South Dakota is definitely the most corrupt. And it's able to project an image that it is not corrupt because there are so few people here. And the people that are here, anybody that stands up against this fascism is pretty summarily crushed. But because of the friends that I have and the family that I have, and just the sheer will of my family, and also a lot of friends that we've made here, we haven't been crushed. But we're close. I feel like every day I get up and we have the sword of Damocles hanging over our family, and it could drop at any moment. And so thank you so much to everybody who's contributed to this effort. Again, PlainsTribune.com, there's a tip jar there. If you'd like to mail a contribution, cash, check, money order, whatever, Be advised, though, that the mail is not the most reliable service for cash right now, mail-in ballots. You can do that to 239 West Jackson Boulevard, Spearfish, South Dakota, 57783. We'd love to have a little more fuel in the tank, because every dollar that comes into this program and to these transmissions amplifies this message tremendously. Even without that support, we've been able to get this far, but now we're ready to take it to the next level for sure. And that's actually happened, and I'd like to thank everybody that's contributed. I hate to start mentioning names, but one of the clear front runners for honorable mention here is Bruce Whalen and Carol Whalen. Those two really stood up for us and employed us during his campaign. And I can't thank them enough for that, because we've been made to be toxic by these fascists. And a lot of people don't have the fortitude or the financial staying power to withstand that. And Bruce and Carol stood up for us when many others wouldn't. And it's made us incredibly strong. So thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Carol, and everyone else associated with that campaign. I don't want to get into trying to list everybody, because I'm going to forget somebody, because there are literally thousands of people who have helped prop us up and who have given us a hand up and who have supported this broadcast. So I just wanted to say heartfelt thank you to all of you. Most recently, Jessica Palma came on the program. Now, this is a great interview, and this is a powerful interview. We did something kind of in true form for our homeschool and for our operation here. We don't care what people think. When we have visions, we bring them to life and we put them out there and we take the criticism. Most recently, we did a video called Liberation of Facebookia. And I invite you to check that out on our channel on YouTube while it's still up and running. We're also on Rumble. But if you go to youtube.com/SpearfishCityLimits, you'll find those videos that we've done in the past. And it's very kitschy, it's very hokey, but it's got a strong message, and the budget was nothing, essentially. So check that out. And we released that at the same time because we wanted to kind of shock people out of their paradigm with that video, at the same time directing them to spearfishcitylimits.com, which is a new URL we've acquired for our web assets. And we're going to be building out spearfishcitylimits.com. The infrastructure of that service right now is more industrial strength than anything that we've ever done, because I want to make sure that when we have a piece of content like this, in the event that it is freed and gets off the farm, so to speak, that it doesn't crash from all the traffic. And we host a lot of stuff right here in our studio, but the bandwidth is suspect, and because there are local interests controlling that service, I have doubts about whether or not it's being intercepted, interdicted, and whether or not what I send out is what you're receiving. So I've taken measures to ensure, or at least to increase the probability that what I published is what you'll hear. And you can find that at spearfishcitylimits.com right now. So spread the word about that. We can scale up to the globe with that interview. And I think that people need to understand, don't follow us. We're lost in South Dakota. We have probably more work to do than Arizona. And right now, Arizona has stopped counting twice. You'll see this sign in the background. Let me duck down. They stopped counting. I made that when they stopped counting on election night 2020. And I put that sign out early and often because that's what's going on. They stop the counting to determine how many votes they need. Then they fabricate those votes. And that's the MO. The methods used to fabricate those votes are numerous. But that's what we're talking about in this interview. We actually have a way. We have a strategy like a juniper in the rock face to do this over time. And we're going to give plenty of time. We're going to give folks plenty of time to get off the cliff. And that includes any government bureaucrats or anybody else who's involved in this. And if you're not taking action to ensure the integrity of our vote, then you're part of the problem. If you're in the bureaucracy, if you're an elected official, be on notice. There's going to be some contention. There's going to be conflict. If you resist liberty, patriotism, the truth, and a fair game and a free market for everything from ideas to products to information services, please don't get run over by this. You're my fellow humans, and I want you to improve yourselves and learn. And that includes people on my side of the fight too. And that's why I can't thank Jessica enough for coming on the program, for leading this effort. and for being willing to hash out with me the strategy going forward. Now, this is the first draft. There's a lot of stuff to this strategy that's still remaining, but it's a good start. So I invite you to check that out. You can go to spearfishcitylimits.com. Make sure that you go to spearfishcitylimits.com and listen to that interview and share that interview. You can download the MP3 and share it on your own private network. You can put it on your computer and say, take a pair of headphones and put it on a family member and say, listen to this and tell me what you think. Try not to pass judgment and let them decide for themselves, because the information in this interview speaks for itself. Thank you so much, Jessica, for devoting that hour and 12 minutes of intense intellectual work to lay this out. And we were successful, in my opinion. We hit a total home run. And this interview should be listened to by anybody that cares about the integrity of our elections in South Dakota, because the truth might not be what you think it is. And so that was our purpose in doing this. And thank you so much to the hundreds of people so far, that should be thousands, but hundreds of people who have downloaded and listened to that interview. And we've gotten some great feedback on that interview so far. So check it out. And it's just one more thing from the weird John McAfee interview we did. We've interviewed Mark Meckler. We've interviewed just Jim Thompson. I don't care who it is. I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. We invited, I think his name's Jamie Smith, the gubernatorial candidate on the Democratic side. I don't care if you have a D or an R in front of your name. I'm registered Republican. I'm conservative. I'm Liberty First. I'm America First. But I just happen to be registered as a Republican because there's more people like me in the Republican Party right now. But there's also a huge number of Democrats that are also right in lockstep with us on America First, not lockstep on this weird, sordid, dark, Luciferian globalist agenda, which does exist. And there's not very many people doing it, but they have weaseled their way into the central banks and the global banks, and they have unlimited currency to do what they want. It's very valuable these days to be unpurchasable. Again, thanks to the hundreds of people who have downloaded and listened to this interview at spearfishcitylimits.com. If you want a funny, kitschy, Plains original type production, go to youtube.com/spearfishcitylimits. It's the first video on there. It's called Captain Backfire Episode 9. And this is subtitled The Liberation of Facebookia. And we'd love for you to check that out, especially if you're a homeschooler. If you're a homeschooler, go and check that out. That was a homeschool project for us. Much of what we do is a homeschool. Everything just about we do is just a homeschool project. And it's connected to some aspect that's pedagogically relevant. And this was one such instance. We learned how to produce a video from the inception of that idea through to the production and post-production and then publication. So check that out too. SpearfishCityLimits.com, PlainsTribune.com, broadcasting from the corner of Canyon and Jackson in sunny Spearfish, South Dakota. And of course, I guess for now, YouTube.com/SpearfishCityLimits. We'll be back around the bend soon with more great content and insightful analysis. And we love all the contributions and feedback that are flowing into our little humble operation here. So keep those coming and spread the word. Thank you so much. My name is John Dale. Have a great day.